Do you have any cases in your practice? 800 roadshows. I believe there's so many stories to tell of different situations. Could you share something?
Yes. So there was one event that we did. It was at the beginning of last year, and it was in Nepal, you can say. And the same thing, we had an event over there. Usually our events are 2 days. They're always on the weekend. They're always on Saturday or Sunday, or depending on the country, sometimes it'll be Friday or Saturday. So most of the time it's on a Saturday and Sunday. And it was a very busy event, a lot of traction. And then on a Sunday evening, I get a very nice phone call. Like, do you know what's happening at the event? I was like, yeah, I just spoke to them an hour ago. Everything's good. They're like, no, they got arrested. I'm like, what? What happened? And they're just like, they got arrested. We didn't know anything. We didn't have any clarity on what was happening. There was not much we can do in that situation to control it as well. And then later we found out the reason is that because you're not allowed to do an event there like this.
Okay.
A lot of the time what people will do, for example, they can do private events, but that means like there's no advertising. It's a very, very private event in someone's home or something like that, or someone's office or your sub-broker network's office, and there's no advertising, and you're inviting only referral or like, qualified clients. But if you're doing a full-fledged big event in a hotel for 100 people and advertising it left and right in a place where it's illegal, that's what's going to end up happening.
True.
So
that is the reason why we have to bring up the real case, because I know personally so many agents or agency owners who are like, it's okay, it will be fine.
No.
Like, and nobody believes that really it can cause a lot of problems.
It can, and you know what? You might think that you could be going with the biggest and the best developer in the country, and they'll help you out. But the chances are, when you deal with international governments, it doesn't work that way. There are rules that you need to follow, and you need to make sure like your staff and your team is safe, because chances are the owner of the brokerage is not going to go. It's going to be someone, an agent, and it's not right to put your agents in a situation that can be really, really harmful for them, and like is worrisome for their family, and it's not good for them either. So you need to really, do your research and make sure a scenario like that doesn't happen.
And also you invest your money, right, into
exactly.
the
Why would you want to take that kind of risk? And guess what? You spent maybe 100K on that event, as an example. You're going to end up paying 200K to get out of there now.
Yeah.
So it's just, it backfires that way. So you just need to make sure that all your research is done properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we started to talk about also the financial part of the roadshows, could you please share in your experience, what is the budget for the roadshows, and what are the ticket sizes for that?
So honestly, it depends on where you want to go. If you are looking to go to India, for example, for an event or a roadshow, it's not that expensive. Maybe 40,000-50,000 dirhams, maybe even less than that. Like
40,000-50,000.
Even less than that, maybe, if you're going to India.
And price include what?
So the prices will include your marketing budget, your flights, tickets, like for your staff, basically. And if you're doing an event with the developer itself, it's even less than that, because the developer will most likely cover the hotel cost for you, the cost of the hostess, the cost of their sales team traveling. They'll take care of all of that as well. The branding, everything's going to be taken care of by them. So maybe a country like India, you can say 20,000-30,000, maybe you can say something like that. But if you're going to a country like the US, now that is very expensive. The flights itself, it depends on how many people you want to send at the event as well. It's not a free, a free vacation. I've had cases where I've seen agents send like 4 or 5 agents from their end, and maybe 5 or 6 clients came for a 2-day event. It's such a waste of time and money for everybody. So you need to first understand how many people you're looking to target, and then take it from there. So for example, typically I would say you always send 2 from the agent side and 2 from the developer side. So you have 4 people there, which I think is fair enough to manage if you're expecting 30 clients per day. So I think that's enough to manage. And how you can manage it better as well, I'm drifting away from the topic a little bit, but it's important to mention this as well, is that you should give time slots to your clients, because it's really important, because then they will feel like they made a reservation or they have an appointment. They're more likely to show up. And it just creates a sense of organization rather than people coming left and right and people are waiting. There's a lot of clients who have come and they are like qualified buyers and they want to buy, but they have left because of the waiting. They don't want to wait. So that's also really important. Now go back to what I was saying is, so it depends on the US, for example. So if you're sending 2 people from the agent side, tickets, hotel, the cost is extremely high. Now, it depends on which city you're going to as well. If you're going to New York, that's super expensive. But if you're going to a place like Houston, that's not too expensive.
Okay.
So it depends on that situation as well. So I would say maybe with the marketing and the cost of the hotel and flights for their staff, 60, 50,000 maybe. And then this is just from the agent.
Okay.
From the developer, it's completely different because the cost of hotels is very, very expensive. If you're going to a place like US or like if you're going to New York, it's over 100K just for the hotel for 2 days. And then there's other stuff then there's flights and accommodation for their staff. Then there's the branding, there's the hostess. So when you put all of that together, it can be maybe depending on the city. But if you want to take New York as an example, maybe 110, 120, 130,000 maybe
Okay.
for in New York, for example. But if you take London, for example, depending on which hotel you're also doing it, because of course when you are doing a high profile event with the property, you need to do it at a good location. The location is key. If you're targeting that kind of clientele, they're not gonna come to some random ass, street and be like, "Yes, I'm here." Like, no,
My property.
yeah, exactly. Like it's a bit shady. You know,
Yes.
you need to have a very, very good location. So when you're doing in London, it's in Central, but Central is massive. So we're in Central. So we would always narrow down a bunch of hotels. For example, if you take hotels like Jumeirah Carlton or the Dorchester, they're extremely expensive, but they're very good. Like in terms of the kind of client who will also come there, like they're good clients who can afford that property as well. So in that case, the cost can be, I'm talking from the developer side, could be maybe 95,000 almost, you can say. And again, from the agent side would be approximately like 40, 50,000.
All right. So
Yeah.
that means that really for each country it's very
It's different and
amount.
depends on how you want to go, because there's also your marketing budget in that, right? How much you're willing to spend, like what's going to be the breakdown, like how much are you solely relying on your network and your client referrals that you have, or you're going solely with just the marketing. So you need to identify all of that. So I cannot give you a ballpark that this is how much it should be. It depends on, it varies from agency to agency and from territory to territory. It really depends. Yeah.
Okay. If we talk about achieving the targets and achieving the great results and make the roadshow successful, what are the volumes of sales, which is minimal, optimal, and maximum that you ever saw? in your
Oh, okay.
practice?
Like from the events?
Yeah, from the events.
The minimum was 0. We've had quite a few 0 events as well. So yes, 0 was there. And the most was, I think, from one event, we did maybe, I think, around 65, 70 million or something.
65, 70 million.
Yes, from one event.
This is the maximum.
The maximum,
Okay.
yes. And but on average, also depends again on the city and territory. For example, if you're going to somewhere in Europe, if you are going and you don't have sales worth of 5 million, it's a waste of time. You're not gonna, there's no point. Like it will not, you cannot just go for 2 deals, like spend all that money. You'd rather stay in Dubai because the market is so good here anyway. So you might as well just make that money over here. But if you're going to a place like India and you close 5 million, that's a huge success. Very good. Like, yeah.
Because you spent less money.
Exactly. Yes. And if you're going to a place like US, I would say anything less than 8 to 10 million is a waste of, like, don't bother, because the cost is so high. The cost is so high. And it's not just the cost. It's also, you have to think of it from the sense of like how much of time is being spent on this roadshow. For example, when you have your agents and from the developer side, their RMs traveling for the event, right? When you go to a place like US, that's like 5 days or 6 days of travel gone. That's a 5 or 6 days of business lost. So you have to see how much you are losing as well from that event. So there's a lot of factors that people don't realize. They'll say, it's just one RM, they're going for 2 days. Okay, but that 2 days is losing how much business for that RM? Like, especially when the market is so good locally, why would their manager or why would the developer want to send their RM to go for an event when they can close maybe the same amount or double that amount staying here? So these are the factors that I feel like a lot of agents don't think about and don't have in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are the reason maybe why the developer will reject their event. Yeah.
And you get many rejections, right, from the developer side.
Yes. So depends. See, like right now, like a lot of, not a lot, I think majority of the developers are focusing on doing roadshows right now. So when I was working at my like old job with the developer, maybe on average we would get 15 to 16. This is like very little, I'm even saying, to be honest with you, requests, out of which maybe
per which periods?
Per day.
Per day?
Per day,
15,
yes.
16 requests?
Yes, for an event per day. And we would maybe approve 3 out of those. So the rejection rate is quite high. And it's not because the developers are snobby and they don't want to work with them. For them, it's all about business. It's all a numbers game. There's nothing to do with I like you more or I like this person more. No, because at the end of the day, even the people who are approving your event, they need to answer to management, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. You need to show them the numbers. This is what our target is. This is what we achieve. In order to achieve that target, you need to be able to send agents who are able to deliver that. So it's all based on your plan and stuff. Like, we've had scenarios where maybe my manager or like the head of the department has rejected an event, and I have felt so strongly in that event. I have gone and fought with my my head of department and said, no, you have to go with this agency. And to the point I've been told that this is completely on you. And if this agency fails, you have to answer for it. I said, no problem. And that case, I'm very proud of that one case scenario, because I think that's where I found my footing, and I knew that what I was doing, like I know what I'm doing, is with one agency. They wanted to go to a specific city, and they were a decent agency. They were not working with the developer where I was working with a lot with us. And so after arguing or having a nice, a friendly or heated debate with my head of department, we came to the conclusion that, okay, we'll approve their event on a reimbursement basis.
Okay.
And they will put a target of 4 million. Now, for that territory, that 4 million target was very high, because I felt like it was not fair, because that's a very small city. It's like 4 million is not a fair.
Which country was it?
This is in India.
In India.
And I just felt like 4 million was not a fair target. However, I said, okay, no problem. 4 million is fine. That agency, but then that same weekend, closed 11 million from that event.
Okay.
So I was like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because it's not about like half the time when you would do the meeting with an agency, right? You can honestly see through the bullshit. Like, you can really see through it. You can tell that this agency, like, they know what they're talking about, or this person is just in the air talking about, I know the prime minister, I know the president. Okay.
So fake it until you make it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work, because
Not
when you're honestly, like, I feel like I have a good read on people, so like it doesn't really work with me. And you can tell with how confident they are with the kind of research that they have done. And you know, when you've done these many events and these many meetings discussing these roadshows, right, you kind of understand like where it's going with the flow. Like, yes, we have done the marketing, we have done this. I'm like, okay, like there's nothing here that give me. But then someone will come in and show me the numbers, or they'll show me something different that they're planning on doing for that event that just piques my interest. I'm like, okay, you know, why not? Like, we should definitely look into this.